Hey, what's up YouTube? Today I actually tried out quite a few different skills with Eternity Shroud because I kind of wanted to just try them out because a lot of people have been talking about it. Someone in chat actually convinced me to buy an anomalous Reave for nearly 5 exalts, and yeah, I pretty much wasted 5 exalts as I don't think anyone is ever buying an anomalous Vol Reave. If someone wants to buy one, please let me know down below in the comments so I can recoup some of my investment into making this video. But basically what you're seeing here is Phantasmal Wild Strike. You can see it clears okay. It's not too bad. It's not too shabby, but I'm going to go over later on in the video how Wild Strike and Reave actually are, because they're both viable to clear the map, but isn't optimal. I guess you'll have to find out because the skill does look pretty cool. I mean, Reave, however, doesn't look that great. That's actually one of the main problems with the skill is you can't see the skill. You don't even know where it is. And I don't really know why it looks the way it looks. I know there's a Blood Reave effect, but yeah. But so far right now, I'm still playing Lightning Strike. I'm going to go over the build I'm doing right now. Last time I did the budget guide, so I'll probably have the link down in the description if you want to check out the budget build. But I did make some changes to the build, including not even having to use the Headhunter anymore, and it actually clears the map faster without the Headhunter in the tropical islands. So that's pretty exciting news. So I'm going to go over what I did to actually make the damage of this build just out of this world at the moment. Right now you can see that my Headhunter is actually inside of my stash, and I actually lost all my exalts today. And I'll show you why, because I did buy some pieces of gear, and I also have a bajillion items to sell. But I don't know why none of my items really sell that fast. I'm not sure exactly why. It seems like trade is a little slower this league, not really sure what's going on. But having trouble selling my items, so not that much liquidity going on. But let's go through my gear. Claw hasn't really changed. Have thought about maybe using Tempering Orbs to get a different enchant. But in the end, this claw is kind of meh, merciless flaring with Reavers. I might try to recraft a different claw, although I don't really think it's possible to beat merciless flaring. I would have to buy a different claw and make it shaped that has better prefixes than this. And that might be a goal of mine, as I really do like this build and I kind of want to juice it up as much as possible. But this claw does have room for improvement. The Tempering Orb and getting at least a higher than Reavers. But Maim is okay, it's not the best, and the crit chance quality is actually pretty bad. I should probably use Lucky Suffix Divine on it. I actually might even have it on the Hoarder Crafting bench now that I think about it, so I don't know if you guys want to see it, but reroll the values of the suffix. Let's do it live on this video. It's going to go good, right? Let's see what happens. Reroll value of suffix. And I mean, it's higher crit. I believe we can do better, right? With lucky modifier values, let's see. Oh, that's better, right? That's kind of better. I don't really know. Is it really better? Who knows? But that's how you actually reroll the suffixes. Lucky Suffix Divine. So the claw is slightly better. But I got another Shaped Call of the Brotherhood. I did buy this one for 20 exalts. And this one I originally bought for 13 exalts. Or no, I chanced this one. But I did sell 2 of the ones that I used to have. I used for a Wander for 13 exalts each. So I don't really know why the price went up on it so much. I think people are just lazy about chancing Shaped Call of the Brotherhoods. So this Blizzard Crown is the same one I've been using. Now one of the things I did do is that I changed it to +1 levels of gems and +1 pierce. And that's pretty good. And because more pierce is really good for Lightning Strike, it makes the skill go further if there's a lot of mobs in the way. So definitely very, very strong. I am thinking about maybe making a different helmet. I should probably quality this helmet all the way. I don't know what I'm doing. And now this amulet here is definitely not that good anymore. I don't need proj speed, proj damage, although it could be good and I'm underrating it. I kind of want to get life, T1 multi, extra fizz as lightning, and effective non-damaging ailments. So I'll probably end up recrafting this. Not really. Oh yeah, I want to get damage while leeching instead of proj speed, proj damage. So this amulet actually has a lot of potential for damage. I'm not really sure if flaring actually beats out, what's it called? Fizz as lightning. I guess that's just an answer for POB, right? So many things in life can be solved with POB. If you want to create your item, you want to see if it's actually worthwhile trying to upgrade it. But regardless, I probably need to spend 3 exalts in recrafting this thing so that I can get damage while leeching. Now, this Prism Guardian is not really changeable. I could get a corruption, but I would lose 12 all res. And it is probably worth it in the end to get a good implicit corruption, like Fizz taken as cold or something. And that would really help out with the damage situation. And that's something that I could definitely look into once I fix the resist a little bit more. It is possibly doable if I use a Stygian, because I'm using the Stygian for bossing. So I got this belt here for mapping, right? This belt is actually a faster mapper than Headhunter, and I do feel like this is the way to go if you are poor and you can't afford Headhunter. I've actually been using this belt instead of Headhunter for doing tropical islands, and it's felt a lot better and a lot faster. Now, the reason you use this belt is because you get the Harbinger, and it gives you 20% or 10% action speed. It used to be 20%, but more importantly, this belt gives you 20% cooldown recovery. And what that means is that General's Cry is now a 2.65 second cooldown. Without the belt, it's at 3.05. So the belt is pretty insane in that regard. And on that topic, I also have bought a new pair of boots. And it's actually crazy, right? I just thought about my Maven kill and how fast it was, and I didn't even have the pen enchant. So this pair of boots I bought for 50 exalts. I got pretty lucky with this pair, honestly, because it's a pretty hard to roll pair. So it has 20% cooldown recovery rate, 20% tailwind, and it has move speed if you haven't been hit recently, and then it also got life, and then cannot be frozen craft, so I don't have to run Arctic armor anymore, because that's what I was running before to solve the freeze issue. But definitely need to change out the enchant to be, what's it called, damage if you have not killed recently. Now this pair of gloves is okay. I changed off the resist roll because I got this pair of boots, which is not two-tone, so I was missing some resist. So right now I'm kind of at like barely enough resist, but it's okay. Ideally, I want to be able to convert everything fully, so I want to get open prefix in order to craft on physical converted to lightning, because right now you can see I still have a portion of physical damage that I haven't converted all. So you can see there's a lot of potential for more damage in this build, and for bossing you would probably end up using full shaped, so you would want to get cooldown recovery on this belt, which should be really, really good. So overall, the reason why we stack cooldown recovery rate is because it makes the build feel a lot smoother. Our General's Cry is shorter, so that means we have higher rage of Berserk uptime, because every time we use the General's Cry, we get more rage. So when we use this belt, we're actually able to sustain our General's Cry pretty fast. 2.65 seconds, we're able to War Cry every time. So you can see here, you're just able to do this over and over again. And what this also means is that Steel Skin's cooldown time is also lower. So without the belt and boots, oh wait, you don't even have Steel Skin anymore. So Steel Skin is like 2.31 seconds, and then with the belt on, it's only 2 seconds. So I've been using Steel Skin a lot while mapping, especially in dangerous scenarios, like when I have to do Alva Temple. And it's been extremely noticeable because it gives you a barrier of 2.4k, and since we're Petrified Blood, that actually happens to be half our HP pool. So for like 50% of the time, we kind of have like 9.5k HP effective, but it only lasts for 1.5 seconds. I've been thinking about maybe I should put increased duration in there since I have the extra gem slot to do it. And I'll probably try that out, and it should feel a lot better in smoothing out the damage curve and when it's actually dangerous. So that's why cooldown recovery is super, super good. It helps out with Steel Skin. It helps out with the Berserk cooldown time. So Berserk is only 3.31 seconds. So this pretty much allows us to keep up Berserk for the entirety of the map, and also makes it General's Cry a shorter cooldown. So cooldown recovery is super, super, super good. And that's why I would have been stacking it on both the belt and the boots. So I switched out this, so this is actually a shaper pair of boots now, which actually allows us to become full shaped. But I don't really think I changed much in the tree besides getting this jewel here in order to cap out my fire and cold res. And Lethal Pride, a lot of people ask me about, is Intimidate on hit is the reason why I have this along with Fire Res. I do want to get a better Lethal Pride later on, but right now I'm more focused on trying to pretty much just get this build off the ground and try to do as much damage as possible while doing the Tropical Island as easily as possible. And Tropical Island is extremely fast with this belt. If you try to get a Corruption, try to get move speed, percent life is pretty much mandatory. And then the other good secondary implicit is move speed or multi. And as always, you could probably get a better Eternity Shroud. I do hope that my Eternity Shroud has more life, as I'm missing kind of 20 life there. And Chaos Res is 6. But the most important role is gain 5% of elemental damage as extra chaos damage. But now I wanted to talk about Reave and Wild Strike and what I thought about it. So Wild Strike and Reave, while they were good skills in terms of being able to clear the whole tropical island, it suffers from a problem that you can't actually convert all of the damage to lightning to start the conversion chain from lightning to cold to fire. And Wild Strike's problem is that it chooses a random element every single time. So it chooses Fizz, cold, or lightning to fully convert into, and then each one of the elements has a special thing that happens. For like cold, it does this like freeze pulse thing. For fire, it does an explosion. For lightning, it does an arc. Now, if you are able to actually choose lightning every single time, and you are able to do that with combat focused jewel, however, the problem with the combat focused jewel is that in order to choose lightning, you do 50% less cold and 50% less fire damage. So even if you convert it all, that means that you're just losing out on damage because you're doing 50% less damage for the damage you're actually converting into in the end. So that's the big problem with the skill. Wild Strike has really good clear because it has innate chain for the secondary portion after the hit. So it feels really good to play and to do maps with, but the single target is just too bad, in my opinion, to really fully explore the skill. Just Lightning Strike just felt so much better than in every other way. So I don't really know what to make of it. Like, Wild Strike is definitely playable. It's really fun to play. It's literally something different. But the damage potential for single target is just not there. But if you're willing to overlook the single target problem, and this is going to be the same for Reave too, then it's definitely a very good skill in terms of clearing and having the full package. It's just the single target is a little bit lacking. Now, when I say it's lacking, it's only when it's being compared to Lightning Strike. It's probably way better than some of the other physical or melee skills like Static Strike or some of the other ones. However, when you're trying to make the best build and try to recommend builds to people, like a lot of people here are wondering what should I play, I kind of always want to choose the best mechanical skill and best skill for damage, purely because it helps out people who have less gear, right? So you don't want to give someone like a skill that requires like perfect gear in order to do a lot of damage to Maven or Cyrus. So Wild Strike is definitely a skill that succeeds because of gear and not because it makes it easier on the player with how good mechanically the skill is for damage. Now for clear, it's really mechanically strong, especially with chain, and it feels really good. As you can see here, it's able to do the blight relatively easily because I think the projectiles like chain 8 or 9 times or something crazy like that. So definitely something very strong for mapping. So I would highly recommend playing Wild Strike if you want to just do some maps and you don't really care about your single target damage as much, and it's just something different to play. Now we move on to Reave. Let's see if I actually have some footage here from Reave. Where's Reave? So I play with, okay, so Reave looks really bad in terms of how the skill looks, right? So actually I died a lot on Reave because, so basically you can see here, right? Reave, you can barely even see where the skill is going. Like I had a lot of people ask me in my stream, like, where's the skill? What skill are you even using? And I've called it the invisible skill because without the MTX, you can't even see what's going on. And right there, the problem with Reave is that there's really nothing special about it for clear, and it also doesn't help out with the conversion chain. You can't convert it all to lightning without using a fizz to lightning gem, and that actually just feels really bad. Technically, you could use a Watcher's Eyes with Wrath for 40% and then have 35% on your gloves, and then 10% from a Watcher's Eye, and which would bring it or to a Glorious Vanity node with Flesh of Lightning or something, and that would bring it to what, 40 plus 35 plus 10, 85% conversion. And I think that that might be good enough, but in the end, the skill is not good enough for clear, and it's actually annoying that you have to rely on Vol Reave in order to have the area you need. So you can see, like, right now, every single attack in terms of helping out the clear is always just going to be pretty much a break strong melee attack. Reave does have a pretty high damage effectiveness of around like 230 or 40%. And Vol Reave is pretty fun to use, and the area is pretty big, but it doesn't really scale with more mobs in terms of like having a chain ability or like Vol Lightning Strike of piercing everything. I mean, technically, Reave is piercing everything, but it just didn't feel really good to play because Reave is actually, I don't think Reave is actually a strike skill, right? So that's actually the big problem. Not being a strike skill is a death sentence in my opinion. And a lot of people might make fun of Reave or make fun of strike skills, but the fact is the strike to additional nearby enemies helps so much in clear that it makes other skills that aren't strike skills for melee feel horrible to play. So Lightning Strike feels like it just clears the whole screen, right? Because of strikes to additional nearby enemies. And Reave's problem is that it's not a strike skill. I know a lot of people on Reddit have been saying, oh, strike skills are a meme when it's really bad. But the fact of the matter is, strikes to nearby enemies or Ancestral Call is some of the best map clear you could possibly have. And that's just how it is. I mean, strike skills are actually really good if the skill that you're using for the strike skill is good mechanically. So if you're using like Infernal or Molten Strike or something, then yeah, it's not going to be that great for clear. But if you're using like Lightning Strike or using like Frost Blades or something like that, then it's going to be really strong. So Reave's main downfall is without MTX, it looks like trash. No real chaining for multi-target clear in maps, and not being a strike skill also severely limits its clear potential. But that's why, and you also have to depend on a Vol skill to have full area on Reave. Now the bright side is that Reave is AoE tag, so you can technically slot in Conk Effect for bosses, but now that I tried out these skills, you can pretty much understand why certain skills just do not seem as strong. So you can have skills that you can't fully convert. So like a skill that's Fizz and Lightning, like Penance Brand or something, is the ultimate god skill for maximum damage in any scenario. So that's why Lightning Arrow is probably one of the best skills in terms of single target or clear for bow builds. And that's why everyone uses Lightning Arrow for 5-ways. But now I'm going to showcase some footage of me doing Mavens and some maps maybe with using Torrent's Reclamation. And the damage for Maven is by far the fastest Maven kill I've ever had while playing PoE.
I stopped asking for forgiveness, cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone. So save your judgment cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You break your back to make me feel again. Suffocate to make me breathe again. Lose your mind from
Starters, one out of a million will reach those heights. Always had a feeling that I won't deny that work. Never could toss. Look in my eyes, I'm on the rocks. Rise. Rise, part of my size, trying to make sense of it all comprised. Yeah, highs, been in these skies. Never stuck down, feeling paralyzed, but I'm up now. We all too late to fall. Yeah, anyone coming, I'ma lift them all. Never look down when it's risk involved. They got guts, gotta learn, I gotta wish it all. Ain't got no feelings, we just floating. Yeah, I'm that grain of sand that made it out the ocean.
I hope everyone enjoyed watching the Maven kill. The kill is actually very, very satisfying with Lightning Strike, and Lightning Strike is definitely the best skill in the game right now, in my opinion, in Expedition League. Vol Lightning Strike is a very, very strong skill for map clearing, and it's like kind of having like Vol Spark or something you put down that just does damage in the area. So in like Tropical Island, you can put down the Vol Lightning Strike in one area and then go to another area and pretty much have insane clear. It also scales with attack speed massively, so you can have some insane single target that it just blows your mind how much damage it's doing. And most importantly, it's a lightning skill that has 50% built-in conversion, so you're not super gimped and having to use Fizz Lightning Gem or something. And it also has extremely high base damages, so 234%. So overall, Lightning Strike is the best skill that I've tried out so far on Eternity Shroud, and probably so far in Expedition League. I know a lot of people like Spectral Shield Throw, but in all honesty, Lightning Strike makes Spectral Shield Throw look like a child, while it's like some massive ass adult. But in the end, one thing I learned today is cooldown recovery is super good, and having a steel skin being something that you can manually cast adds a lot more like skill in the playstyle, because you can preemptively dodge some damage. I will try to add increased duration, but this is definitely one of my favorite builds, and I do think that it has a lot of infinite scaling potential for people who like to constantly upgrade their gear. And the gear is not as expensive piece to piece to upgrade as an ore stacker, because one of the things that I feel like that kind of turns off people right now towards the ore stacker is that the entry level is relatively cheap, but to go from the entry to like intermediate level of gear, it costs a fortune. And then to actually reach the end game, it's pretty much an impossibility with how slow currency farming is in this game while playing. So maybe if you're crafting gear, it's fine, but right now, with how slow the economy is, the ore stacker is a really hard build to pull off to be a really god tier build. So basically, I highly recommend you to try this build out if you don't have as much currency for the ore stacker, as it is very good, and I think it beats the ore stacker in clear for maps and single target by a mile. Survivability might not be as good, but I'll try to find a way to fix it and make it better. But thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you find more mirrors and exalts than I do, and see you next time. Bye.